Entering the combat zone. Get ready for battle.
Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and I know I just put up a P228 video, but this was too good to pass up. I just kicked the game on. This is my first battle of the evening, and there are no command centers here, and I think if anybody's been watching my videos with heavies long enough, you'll note that some of my best performances have coincidentally been where there's a command center and I'm taking out bomber flight after bomber flight after bomber flight, and while it's not the most compelling gameplay, it usually racks up a pretty sizable combat score and gives me a pretty decent amount of points. But here we are flying in a battle where we don't have any of those token easy point grabs. I actually need to work for every bit of pointage that I can get here, and I'm already gunning right for one of the priority areas, which is going to be this rocket base over here. So I stayed at a higher altitude, and I actually stayed out of the circle because the AI fighters will only come up to meet you once you've entered the zone. So I let the bomber trigger them so they wouldn't be coming straight at me, which gives me a better opportunity to get them unaware. I know they're a bot, but you can take advantage of their inability to cope with the environment and take them out. That other aircraft burned out because I actually have a bonus on my gun sights that allow me to get an increased chance of fire, which is a nice little bump that I didn't get in 2.0. So with the new, what is this, 2.1.5 I think? This new iteration of the game allows you to be able to get extra bonuses with some of the modules, so that gives us a good opportunity to really be able to put some damage out. This RB-17 right here is an NPC. I thought it was a player because that looks like a player name to me for whatever reason, but it must be some Russian name or something. But I ended up taking this guy out, and I ended up taking him out several times, but that is the role of this aircraft, right? Taking out less maneuverable aircraft that are up at altitude, or more maneuverable aircraft that shouldn't be where they are, that roamed up to your area. Now, I didn't want to ram that guy, but I don't know why I thought he was going to turn, and that guy, I don't know if he just rocketed me or what, but he definitely took me out, and I noticed that he's missing some rockets underneath his wings, and I've been noticing that the NPCs have been using rockets much more effectively lately, so that's entirely possible.
This will make things easier for you.
First thing I do, as always, get a little bit of altitude, kick the boost just a little bit in order to propel me up there, and I get right up to where its envelope is, in this case around 8,000 feet. But since I know I'm coming into an area where there's already people at 8,000 feet, I was going to kick up just a little bit to try and get myself a bit of an advantage. I'm going to drop down on this guy that actually killed me earlier, Arnold. I managed to hit his wing, but I just can't stay on him, and rather than trying to chase him, because I know I can't outturn him, I go into the vertical in order to get my advantage. It looks like he's not interested in playing, so I can bring my nose back down, but unfortunately he's already killed and we lost the base. Here's this bomber again. It looks like he's making a beeline over towards our rocket facility. We have to maintain that. That's an offensive spot. If I can maintain keeping this area safe, it's going to give us an advantage. If we lose this, we're going to be at a serious disadvantage. Now, it's not only him I'm worried about. We also have two, count them, two 1056s. Granted, both controlled by AI, but with both of these aircraft here, it does pose a bit of a threat for them to flip the zone just by killing aircraft. So I'm choosing my targets carefully. This one was out of position. He was upside down trying to pull essentially downward, which would have been upward in his perspective, which is not as effective. Aircraft naturally want to pull back, at least in real life. So pulling back is your maneuver. Dipping the nose down is more for that finite movement of trying to come in for a landing, not really meant for combat maneuvers. So I'm not going to come straight down on that attacker that's coming in right now, the, what is it, ground attacker. So I'm actually going to come in from the side. I'm holding the brakes, I'm hitting the flaps, I'm maximizing my deceleration, and I vector in and start taking out this IL-10M, and lucky for me, he is actually angling himself in a way that allowed me to be able to get a really good cross-section, but it looks like the bomber is already back again. But look how well this aircraft performs at being able to go from the ground all the way up to high altitude just with a little bit of boost, and I still have quite a bit to spare. And yeah, I'm losing some airspeed and I'm kind of hitting that stall marker, but I got boost that can kind of control that, and I can feel in my responses to my controls whether or not we're about to drop out of the sky, and I was able to maintain it well enough. So we're maintaining this zone, we got the airfield back it looks like, and we're kind of trading garrisons with the other rocket base, which is fine for me. I'm keeping them from getting ours. It looks like our bomber is over theirs, over their rocket sites, so we're kind of keeping this on an even keel. The IL-20 is talking about getting the airfield, but we captured it, so he was pretty happy about that. And now I'm coming back into the middle to try and assist in maintaining this zone and looking for targets of opportunity. And here's this 1056 again. Big cross section, already damaged, very easy kill. That aircraft is absolutely massive. And here's Albert again. Albert, you just will never learn. I got 0 hits on him though, so I'm going to go ahead and dip out of this engagement and maybe find a different target. You heard the rockets explode behind me just then, so he did take a pot shot with some of his aerial rockets, and they must have been close enough since we heard the pops. Is that the same Arnold? Or are there 2 Arnolds? Alright. Either way, we took out that guy and probably helped one of our buddies. I note an air-to-air engagement below me with a light fighter, and I want to dive down and try and give this guy a hand. He is in a Kai versus the J7W2. J7W2 might be getting into a bad situation, so hopefully I was able to assist him and not steal that kill from him, but I'd like to think that he was happy for the save. I see that I'm already over here near their rocket base, so I figure might as well take advantage of the opportunity. The bomber's doing his drops. We're probably going to capture the zone, so let's kill this aircraft. Maybe that'll help flip the zone. But it looks like they didn't need me, but it is always nice to get an extra kill in if you can. So now that we have both rocket facilities, I look and I see they have absolutely swarmed the other rocket facility. I'm kind of glad I'm not over there because I probably would have been overwhelmed since most of our aircraft were on this side of the map, but I'm working my way back over here and looking for isolated targets. We see squall lines about to pop, and I note here's a Ta-152, and he does have the specialist wing, so I think it's a good idea to take him out. I'm waiting for the timer. 3, 2, 1. Was that enough for the squall line? I don't know if it was or not, but I'm hoping it was. That was my plan anyways, but I couldn't let the opportunity go. That is where we just flipped over 14,000 points for Winged Legend, and we helped get some capture points that allowed us to be able to get some extra into our ranking for the airframe type. Here's another BVP. I'm trying to avoid getting directly in front of him because I'm worried about rockets again, but I realize that there are several aircraft that seem to be directly behind me. It looks like 3 are vectored on my tail, so I decided to take the fight into the vertical. I'm hitting X to target the nearest aircraft to see how close they are to me, and while this is well outside my envelope, I note that the aircraft that was behind me is starting to fall out of the sky, which is what I'm looking for. I want to see something with a low energy state, but this Kai, who's a player, is coming up to meet me, and I managed to take him out. There's another Ta-152 below me, again with specialist wings. I'm not sure if it's the same guy I took out earlier, and I'm trying to get away from that engagement because it looks like he is giving chase and I'm not going to be able to outmaneuver him. I took a quick glance at how far away he was from me, and he was actually pretty close. I helped flip that zone with an opportune target, and yeah, he's closing on me a bit, so let's go ahead and hit the throttle and try to get a little bit of distance. And I see a bunch of my friendly aircraft vectoring onto the Ta. I want to see that Ta turn, so I'm looking at the arrow, and I note the arrow is turning, so I decide to turn on him. And this is where I'm going to try and get the advantage because he's going up against 2 aircraft already. He's heavily distracted. Yes, he took out one of my allies, but I believe that was a bot. It was. And now that he's diving into my other aircraft, I'm taking advantage of his lack of attention and took him out. And yes, that was the same guy from earlier. So just a split second, killed him just a split second too early, so he was back for squall line. There was only 3 aircraft left, a ground attacker and a bomber. We pretty much have this in hand at this point just based on capture points. So I know I just have a little bit of an opportunity here, so I'm burning all my extra boost. I'm doing nearly 600 miles an hour, and I am vectoring in for the RB-17 kill. But I'm going just a little bit too fast, and I probably should have slammed on the brakes because I am going to completely overshoot him, and my perspective was off because I thought he was traveling away from me. He was actually traveling towards me. Gotta watch that mini-map and see how that aircraft is vectored. Trying to get the nose down, get these shots on target, but... oh, come on. Oh, I'm glad I picked him off because that allowed me to pick up ace. So, quite a bit of a success for us there.
I'm proud of you, pilot. Head back home.
Alright, so here we are at the end result screen, and 19,000 score. Yeah, I'll absolutely take it. A ton of cash, 4 tokens, and a total of 8,500 experience and 20 aircraft kills. We managed to capture 3 sectors. We weren't really capturing a lot of sectors as much as we were holding on to one individual sector, but that allowed us to really be able to maintain the lead and the advantage versus the enemy, gave us the top score for the team, and put me that much closer to being able to get the javelin. So all in all, guys, I hope you really enjoyed the video. I think this highlights the capabilities of heavy fighters without just going after bomber flight after bomber flight, which is what I realized in the aftermath of the last video, that's pretty much all my good heavy videos. So I do have other good heavy fights. They're just usually devolve to me going after command center bombers, so it can be a little bit repetitive, but these instances are the ones that seem to really make it all worthwhile. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.